Welcome to Frequencies, a satellite podcast brought to you by ST Engineering iDirect, where we take a closer look at shaping how the world connects. Recently, ST Engineering iDirect released Dialog 2.2.3 for general availability. In addition to achieving the industry's highest return rates in shared bandwidth networks, the latest Dialog release includes several features and enhancements that achieve even greater operational efficiency for large-scale maritime, cell backhaul, and trunking networks. We're joined today by ST Engineering iDirect's Head of Cellular Backhaul and Trunking, Samir Hassanali, and Product Manager for Dialog, Bart Bakerland. From each of their areas of expertise, they will discuss how Dialog 2.2.3 is shaping how the cellular backhaul and trunking markets connect. Let's listen in on their conversation.
Good day, Bart. Thank you for making the time today to discuss the new tech Dialog 2.2.3 release. And as you can guess, my interest is around what are the benefits for the cellular backhaul, the trunking, and the 5G markets. So this release is bringing additional features for high throughput. And if we map this to the cellular backhaul market, I think we can leverage it in those networks where we have deployed or will be deploying, where there is a lot of throughput, a lot of video traffic, including like for the data traffic and a lot of voice traffic. And these are networks that we have deployed in Latin America, where we've seen a lot of 3G, very demanding 3G traffic. So it could map to those networks, but also the 4G networks and the upcoming 5G. And in those types of networks, what we have also seen is a lot of asymmetry in the traffic, which would favor the VSAT type of traffic of solutions for bandwidth sharing on the forward and on the return. What we have also seen is the increased throughput requirement on the return beyond 100 megabits per second, for example. So how can this Dialog release help in that space?
Well, you're absolutely right, Samir. So return throughputs become more and more important also in the mobile backhaul market. And in release 2.2.3, we introduce 68 megasymbols return on the MDM5010, our flagship modem. This means that this modem can attain return throughputs of up to 200 megabits, all in shared capacity with our MXDMA HRC return waveform. So record throughputs in shared capacity up to 200 megabits. Added to that, also we have very high performance in the forward on the MDM5010, up to 400 megabits per second, making this a very attractive proposition for the mobile backhaul market.
Okay, so Bart, we certainly can say this is probably the fastest VSAT modem on the market today. If we talk about the 5010, the MDM5010?
Certainly when you're looking at shared capacity. So in shared capacity, 200 megabit per second is unprecedented.
Okay. Now, next thing is that we also know that mobile operators are very sensitive to service level agreement and service availability, even more when you deploy in KU and Ka bands, which is very fate sensitive. And so how does the new release help in that space?
Well, good question. So you are absolutely right that in mobile backhaul availability ties very closely together with the achievable SLAs of the MNOs. So the good thing about MXDMA HRC is that it has dynamic allocation of bandwidth depending on fading conditions. So every second, the return frequency capacity is reallocated to the terminal installed base. So, for example, if a terminal would, on a temporal basis, be subject to a fading condition, the MXDMA return technology will dynamically assign to that terminal extra spectral capacity in order for that terminal to maintain its bitrate during this fading condition. But afterwards, it will, of course, come back to a lower symbol rate at a higher modcode. So that is the dynamic bandwidth allocation aspect to the MXDMA waveform. Added to that, it also supports VLSNR. So we support modcodes down to -6 dB on the MXDMA return technology with a very high modcode granularity, allowing to maintain the link even at very disadvantaged link conditions.
So that would apply to those like the KU and very fate sensitive KU and KA bands even more,
yes,
right?
Indeed, especially to KA where the fading can be very, very strong.
Okay. Now, similarly, if we want to guarantee very high quality of experience to subscribers, because that is very key in the mobile networks, right? And it is crucial to be able to address the geo latency, which can affect, the quality of experience, especially for web browsing and video streaming. And we know, for example, then when we open a browser session on mobile device, it's going to open multiple number of TCP sessions. And in addition, jitter is also something very important, right? It's going to affect your voice, the quality of your voice traffic, but also increase the data retransmission in your network. So again, how do we take care of quality of experience then, especially with the new release?
Good question, Semir. Indeed, quality of experience is also extremely important in the mobile backhaul market, especially now with more and more data being sent over. So we have in our platform embedded GTP acceleration, both on layer 3, but also now on release 2.2.3, we introduced that also on layer 2. Added to that, we also have TCP acceleration in the platform. Indeed, as you say, more and more smartphones have tendency to open up a very large amount of TCP sessions the moment they boot. So it can easily be 100 TCP sessions when a terminal gets online. So we need the number of supported accelerated TCP sessions for a VSAT modem is becoming a more and more important performance metric of a VSAT modem. And for that, we have the MDM5010, our flagship modem, which allows up to 75,000 accelerated TCP sessions. So that is a very important performance parameter here. Okay. Also for low jitter, with the MXDMA return technology, we achieve very low jitter over satellite. And also an important metric for mobile backhaul.
Indeed, very good, very good. So other things that are very important are cost and ease of operations. Like this is true for any industry, but it's especially true for the satellite industry today. And I haven't mentioned things related to optimization, decreasing the cost of the satellite bandwidth, so on and so forth, to make it more affordable and get a return on investment for mobile operators. So here again, what is it that we're doing in that space?
Well, when we are talking about OPEX over satellite, people typically think about spectral efficiency. And indeed, spectral efficiency is very high on the agenda for us. And so we have a wideband modem portfolio that supports S2X. So all the modems in our portfolio support S2X in the forward. Up to 500 megasymbols with time slicing, significantly increasing the statistical multiplexing domain. On the forward, we achieve industry standard efficiency. And on the return, we have MXDMA, which is dynamically allocating the spectral capacity in the most efficient way for each terminal, depending on the channel conditions, the traffic requirements and QoS requirements. So also in the return link, we have very high spectral efficiency. Okay. Another aspect to OPEX is ease of operation, and there in release 2.2.3 we have the layer 2 over satellite on Dialog, where in release 2.2.3 we introduce all the traffic optimization techniques that we have on layer 3 into the layer 2. And so there, for ease of operations, operating networks in layer 2 becomes a very attractive proposition.
You also, like you mentioned, I mixed here on the return, like very high efficiency and very high achievement in terms of the multi-code it can achieve in the return, right? Compared to any traditional VSAT solution, or if we compare it to the traditional TDMA return technology, for example.
Indeed, so we have a very high multi-code range with high multi-code granularity, and it gets assigned dynamically to the terminals that need it. So we can achieve up to 32 APSK return waveforms on MXDMA. Without a problem.
That's good to hear. So next thing is 5G. So like 5G is on everybody's radar. Everybody's discussing about it, especially about enhanced more mobile broadband applications. But beyond 5G, we're also discussing about multi-orbit constellations and the multiple applications that is going to be make available to the end users. So are we ready for this?
Yes, so in the MDM 5010, we have the fastest VSAT modem, but also that modem is software defined and it is hardware ready to support upcoming multi-orbit constellations and 5G.
Excellent, excellent. Let's also address the case of fiber restoration, for example, and business continuity. So especially where there is, in this environment, there's a lot of capacity. There can be a lot of capacity to move around, right? And we've seen a number of cases where the fiber has been cut off, especially in those emerging markets. So how can this new release help in this space? Would fiber restoration be facilitated with this new release? And are there potentially new modems that would help us in that space?
Well, indeed, a good question. So fiber restoration is often associated with disaster recovery applications and business continuity use cases. So here, this release is very relevant because of the record return throughputs of MXDMA. Also, again, the 68 megasymbols allows the modem to contribute 200 megabit in the return link. Traditionally, fiber restoration was done with a CPC type of links, with all the organizational challenges of this, being able to obtain the required capacity when it is required can be very difficult. On a VSAT platform, we can do a fiber restoration in shared capacity with shared forward, shared return. And we can move a very large amount of capacity now also in a VSAT platform.
Thank you, Bart. So that was very enlightening session today. Thank you very much, and looking forward to speaking to you for the next release. Thank you.
Thank you, Samir.
If you enjoyed this conversation about Dialog 2.2.3, you may also wish to listen to our Head of Mobility, Andrew Fiola, also speaking with Product Manager for Dialog, Bart Bakerland. The new Tech Dialog platform from ST Engineering iDirect delivers efficiency, flexibility and scalability that continues to break through technology barriers. Thank you for listening to this Frequencies podcast. You can find other episodes on a range of topics wherever you listen to podcasts. Please join us again for more conversations with ST Engineering iDirect.